Stitch Cutie, welcome to the video tutorial for box 8 of your gnome quilt. Can you believe we're already 8 months in? So this month we're making this adorable little fisherman gnome, and we're also making the schoolgirl, so blocks 15 and 20. So let's talk about what you need to get started. Of course, you have your pattern and your full-size placement guides with you. You have all your prefused laser cut applique pieces. I've separated it using my placement guide. So right now I have all my pieces for block 15, and then set aside I have all my pieces for block 20. Then you want to have all of your threads ready. And are these just so beautiful this month? So these are all sulky 40 weight rayon threads, and you want to have white, which is 1001. Then you'll have the beautiful blue, which is 1293. You have brown, 1130. You have purple, which is $12.99. You have the orange, which is $11.68. And pretty pink, $13.07. You have your avocado, which I love this color, $11.77. And you have peach, which is $10.19. Butterfly gold, which I use all the time, $05.67. And last but not least, silver gray, number 1218. So I have all my threads lined up on the side, ready to go. And then my layout, I like to have my Steady Betty, my cutting mat, my applique glass, and my light pad all in one pile at my embroidery machine, so I don't have to go anywhere else in my workspace. And of course, I have my Steam Fast Travel Iron, which I love using. And then I like to have 3M transport tape, my favorite pair of Karen K. Buckley scissors. This is the large size. There's also medium and small. I really like the medium size if you have to pick just one pair. And then I like to have a friction pin, which is handy when we get down to trimming. So the first thing we need to do is take our fabric from our kit and trim it down. So let me set my Steady Betty aside. This month, because we're making 2 gnomes, we just need 2 pieces that are 10 inches by 14 inches. So I'm just folded my fabric in half, so it's 7 inches tall, right? Because it's folded in half. And I'm just gonna go over 10 inches, basically cutting this strip of fabric in half. There we go. And don't worry if it's not exactly perfect, because when at the end of this we're going to trim it down and you have way more fabric than you actually need. Now what I'm going to do is load a medium tearaway stabilizer in the hoop of my machine. Give these a good press with a little bit of starch. Load your white thread in the file for block 15, that little fisherman gnome, and let's get started. All right, with that first step, you have a T right in the center of your hoop. So what you want to do is put your fabric in place. And I do want to put my Steady Betty back in place. I had my cutting mat out for cutting my tearaway stabilizer for my hoop. But I like to have the Steady Betty under here because it just keeps the contents of my hoop nice and in position, and also it's great for ironing on. So what I've done, I've taken my fabric and I've folded it right sides together, and just bring that cut line up to the selvage if your piece has the selvage on it. And then fold it in half one more time. Line that folded edge up on both sides right here of your T. And then simply flip it open and flip it open. And again, this doesn't have to be like a perfectly positioned thing. So we're going to trim it down at the end, right? We like to have more fabric than you need. So I'm just going to give a little bit of tape to hold this in place as we work. And we're going to keep the white thread on for the first several steps. I'll tell you when to change your thread. And also the README file included with your blocks tells you step by step. All right, so now that this is in position, we're going to put this on, and the machine is going to give us our first round of applique outlines. Okay, so now we have quite a bit of applique outlines, and we want to pay special attention to our little bucket over here that has 3 pieces in it, and we want to put everything down in a specific order. So let's get the rest of this ironed on, and then we'll pay attention to our little fish bucket for our fisherman. So first up, let's get the pink body of the fish that he caught. Let's see, get that right in place, give it a little press. There we go. And if you want, I usually iron out that little T before I finish hooping, but I didn't today. So if you want to give that a little press, do so. Now we have our striped legs that we'll put in place. This is a really cute stripe. It's a denim. Is the color of the blue. So he's got his little fisherman outfit on. And then we have brown shoes. Most of the gnomes have black shoes. There's a few that have brown, and this is one of them. So just get both little feet in place. There we go. Give that a press. And then you want to do the right hand of your little fisherman. Put that right in place. There we go. So now on the bucket, let's take a look. The easiest thing to do is just have your placement guide beside you to take a look at the numbers. So you're always going to start and build up from your numbers, right? So we're going to do 7, which is the cute little handle of our bucket. So we'll put this right in place, right here. And again, all 3 of these fish overlap, so you want to make sure you put them down in the right order. So the one we put down first is piece 7A, which is the fun little orange Swiss fish. We'll just get that. And it is not a symmetrical piece. You just want to make sure you have it facing the right way, like so. Now we're going to put on piece 7B. So let me just show you on the placement guide. 7B, so that's our little pink fish right here. And you can always, if you want, use your placement guide and just make sure you have your little guy facing the right way. And then you can put it right in place. There we go. Awesome. And then the last piece of the little fishies is 7C, and it's this lime green fish right there. And these are going to be stitched with the cutest little buttonhole stitch. I think I took it down to like 1.5. It's really cute. And then last but not least, the bucket, which is piece number 8. There you go. See, that's really easy to build. You just got to pay attention to the order of placement. So now we can set our pattern and our placement guide aside, and let's put this back on the hoop, still with our white thread, and the machine's going to give us our next round of applique outlines. Okay, so now we have our next round of applique outlines, and where we want to pay attention here is with our right sleeve and then our fishing pole. So let's get started. We're going to start with our sleeve and put this right into place. They come really, really close to each other, so you just want to make sure you have them in the right spot. So right arm and then the fishing pole. And of course with the fishing pole, like any kind of long piece, you'll get it in position everywhere, and then you'll just work your way around with the iron. So let's make sure that he's in a good spot all the way around. There we go. All right. And give it a press. See? Easy as can be. And I love this little iron for working in the hoop and for working with the small pieces. Super handy. There we go. Now let's put the little orange piece on our fishy. And look at that little fish. Isn't that cute? And I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, I wish all fishies were that pretty. But you know what? There are some really beautiful fish. Like when you think about all the fish that people have in those beautiful aquariums. Okay, so now we have the little socks. And these 2 pieces are a little bit different from each other. So make sure you have the right piece in the right place. Give that a press. And now the left one. There we go. And then we have a hand and 3 accent lines here on our bucket. Look at that, so cute. Boop. All right, and then these are all a little different, so just make sure you have it at the right spot. It's gonna line up perfectly edge to edge, so you'll know you have the right one in the right spot. Let's see if I can lay more than one at a time before I press. There we go. Give that a press. And then now the bottom of our bucket. So when we put this back on, we're still gonna have the white thread on our machine. And the machine's just gonna give us our next round of applique outlines. Let's take a look. So this is what your hoop should look like right now. the beginning of a gnome. We're working on building him. All right, so now we have 3 pieces to put in place, and we do have an area where they overlap. So we want to make sure that we put down the left arm before we put down the body. So let's get those pieces in place. So just get your left arm right in place. Give this little guy a press. There we go. Now our body, which is a really fun coral check. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. This little guy's so savvy. And then you just get it where you have it in position, line up at the top, and then your sides will fall right into place. So just give this a press. There we go. And then we have the little reel on our fishing pole. And the whole time I'm making this, I'm just thinking I guess it's probably been a month now. Steven and I went fishing, and I was so good at catching the bait fish. And then it came to the big fish. That was all him. All right, so now we're going to put this back on with the white thread, and the machine is going to give us an outline for our little fisherman's beard. Okay, so we have that outlined. We're just going to pop the beard into place. So the next few steps, we have to do it in a couple steps just because each thing builds on top of each other. And let's get our little beard in place. You want to make sure you have it nice and lined up with the little wiggles of the beard. That's the official word, wiggles. All right, we'll put this back on, and now we're going to get an outline of our little gnome nose. Okay, so there's our nose outlined. Let's get this right in place. And then the next piece that we'll have outlined will be the big polka dotted hat, which is also denim blue. Okay, and I bet y'all thought that you were gonna get away without hearing me say, my little gnome is coming to life. Well, this is the step where we put the hat on. This little gnome is gonna come to life. So cute. So just make sure you have it lined up everywhere. Looking good. Let's give it a press. Oh my gosh, how cute is this little guy? I love it. I'd go fishing with him. Look at that. So cute. Okay, so now one more step of applique outlines, and that is the outline for the star in the center of his hat. Okay, so we have our star outline. Let's put this in place. And now it's time for color changes. So from all of those steps from here on out, I'm gonna take my hoop on and off, simply so I can talk about what we're stitching and the thread color changes that are coming. However, at home, you don't need to do that. You can keep your hoop on the arm of your machine for the rest of the project, and you'll just want to change your thread colors accordingly. So the first color we're putting on, oh, such a pretty color, is the 1293, and the machine is going to do all of our blue accents and stitching here, and it's also going to do the fishing line for you and a little bit of a smile on this one little fishy. All right, take a look. So all of your blue stitching is complete. It looks so good. And look, now your little fishing pole and your little fishy are connected because you have your fishing line stitched. So now we're going to load 1130, which is brown, and the machine is gonna do your fishing pole, part of the little bucket over here, and then the shoes of your fisherman gnome. All right, take a look, and I want to point something out. Take a look at the stitches on your fishing line. Now, a lot of times when I'm doing something this narrow for you all, I'll bring the stitches down really, really tight and really small in terms of the bite in. However, I kept it at a 2 on this because look, the way that little texture creates like a little woven weave, it makes it look like this really is a wooden fishing pole. So I thought that was just really fun to point out, because you can really play with your stitches and kind of have it add to the design. So now it's time to change to our purple, which is $12.99, and the machine is going to do all the little purple accent stitching with a really cute buttonhole here on your bucket. All right, now your little bucket is all stitched, so it's time to start doing some of the embellishments of the little fish in your bucket. So we're gonna put on 1168, and the machine is gonna do the first little fish here, and also it's gonna jump up over here and do the little face of your fishy hanging on the pole. Okay, so now the 2 spots of orange are stitched, and so it's time to put on the petal pink, 1307, and kind of the same thing. The machine is going to do one little fish over here in the bucket, and then it's going to do the body and the accent lines of your fish on your fishing line. Okay, so now that the pink is stitched, it's time for a little bit of green. That's an 1177, and the machine is going to do just this one little fishy. Oh, cute. All your little fishies in your bucket are stitched. Don't they look adorable? So now we're going to change to peach, which is 1019. The machine is going to do your gnome nose and both hands, and it's also going to go around the coral checked body for you. It's really interesting how good this coral or peach thread looks stitched on that coral. Isn't that funny? I always think it's fun how threads match what maybe you wouldn't expect them to match. Oh, how cute is your gnome looking with his little nose? I love it. So now we're going to load 0567, and the machine is going to do the buttonhole stitch around your star. And then after that, we just have one more thread color change. All right, your little star is stitched. So all we need to do now is our last thread color change of silver gray, the 1218. And your machine is going to stitch around your little gnome's beard and the fishing reel. Okay, so now let's take a look from head to toe. Look at this little fisherman gnome. He is stitched so cute-like. I hope that you had fun stitching this. So now it's time to reload with your white thread on your machine. Put your new piece of stabilizer in your hoop. First, of course, you gotta take this little guy out. And what we're gonna do is load the file for block 20, and let's get started on the schoolgirl. Okay, so now that you have all of your block 15 done, it's time to start block 20. So you re-hooped like we just did. You have your fabric ready just like we did at the beginning. You have all your prefused laser cut applique pieces for your block 20. And now let's talk about the thread colors you want to have out for this. So again, still all sulky 40 weight. We have white 1001, which is what you're going to load on your machine first. Then we have red 1147, black, which is 1005. Then we have the butterfly gold 0567. Then we have peach, which is 1019. We have the brown, which is 1130. The avocado green, which is 1177. And last but not least, the silver gray, which is 1218. So again, have the white thread loaded, and your machine is going to stitch that first T. Okay, so now your T is stitched. And I just am going to put my hoop right on top of my Steady Betty. And with my fabric, again, it's folded in half and then in half. So I'm going to line my two folds up and then unfold and unfold so that you have the right side of your fabric facing up to you. And I am going to iron out my little T. I forgot to do that earlier. There we go. And a little bit of tape like always. We're going to keep the white thread on our machine for the first several steps. So we'll put this on and get the first applique outlines going. Okay, so you have your first round of applique outlines. And as always, I'm just going to turn it sideways so it fits on my Steady Betty. And let's start putting our pieces in place. So first up are her shoes, because the girl's got to have her cute shoes on. There we go. I'm going to get both of those in place. There we go. Give them a press. And now we have our two legs, these cute red stripes, because she's the schoolgirl. So she's going to be all dressed up for her first day back to school. It's kind of funny. I always make little stories of what the gnomes are doing. There we go. And now here for her hand and her arm, there's an area where they overlap, right? So you want to make sure that you put your hand down first before you put down her arm. So there we go. There's her hand and her cute striped arm. And you just line it up with the three sides because you don't see the bottom line once you have that hand ironed on. There we go. So now keep the white thread on your machine, put this back on, and the machine's going to give us the cute little apple pieces, her body, and then her socks. Okay, so here's our applique outlines. Let's start putting them in place. Let's start with the apple. And I want to start with the apple because there are some over and underlap areas. And you just want to follow the numbers on your placement guide. So you're going to go 8, 9, 10, meaning we're going to do the brown stem, then we'll do the green apple, and then we'll do the green leaf. So stem first. This is a really thin little stem. So you just want to be careful that you don't lose it while you have it sitting out. There we go. Get this little guy right in place. And I'm just gonna kind of scooch him a little because I'm not aimed well in my line. There we go. While it's still hot, you can kind of rearrange it a little bit, which is such a nice trick. And even when you're not doing machine or embroidery machine applique, when you're doing regular applique with your sewing machine, you can do the same thing when you're building your applique units. And now we're going to put down piece number 10, which is our leaf. So cute. Just get that little guy right in place. Oh, look at that little apple. So yummy. Maybe she's making a green juice. And now we're going to put down our 2 socks, which are these cute white ruffle pieces. There we go. You just want to make sure you have the right one in the right spot because they're a little bit different. So get that one in place. And then this one in place, and we'll give it a press. So cute. It's like we're building our little outfit as we go. And then the fun red checked. And let's just get this. You want to make sure to pay attention to all the little ruffles. That's where you really want to make sure you have it nice and lined up. There we go. That looks good to me. I'm just going to hold it in place and then press my way up. There we go. Looks perfect. So those are all the pieces we have to iron on at this step. So we're going to put this back on with the white thread, and we'll be back with our next set of applique outlines. Okay, so now we have our next round of applique outlines. And again, there's areas where they overlap, so we want to make sure we put the pieces in the right order. We're going to put down her hand, piece number 13, first. And then after we get her hand in place, we'll put her right arm, which is piece number 14. Easy as can be. There we go. Just line this right up. Cute. Oh my gosh, she's looking so cute. And now for her face. Gotta have a face. Actually, the gnomes don't. The boy gnomes, have you noticed that? They don't have a face. They just have a beard and a nose. So I guess I shouldn't say you have to have a face if you're a gnome. It can be hidden under your hat. Okay, so now we'll put this on for another round of applique outlines. And we're going to come back and be able to put her braids and her hat and her nose in place. Okay, so now we have a bunch of applique outlines, and we want to make sure here as well that we pay attention to the order we're putting our pieces on. So we're going to put her nose in place, then both braids, both bows, then her hat and her ruler, because there's areas where they over and underlap. So let's get started. First up, her little nose. Put that right in place. She's so cute. And now we're going to do her braids. So we have 2 braids. They're different, so you just want to make sure you get the right one on the right side. Whoop. Make sure you get it in place. I'm just going to hold it, kind of work my way up to make sure it stays in the spot that it needs to be. And the same thing with this one over here on the left. There we go. So cute, huh? And now we can do both little bows. And again, they're a little bit different. So you want to make sure you have them facing the right direction. It's easy to tell. There we go. So one in place. And another in place. There we go. Boop. Awesome. So now we can put her hat on. Are y'all so excited to see it? I am. So like always, you just line it up, and you want to make sure that it lines up all the way around, especially with your little squiggles over here. And then I'm just going to start at one side and work my way over, pressing it into place. There we go. And now for her ruler. Oh my gosh, this is so cute stitched out too. All right. There we go. And again, with a big piece, I just work my way up or over. And now it's time to put this back on for one more applique outline, and that is for the heart that's on her hat. Okay, so here's our heart outlined, and you'll notice, you're like, hey Brittany, there's 2 hearts. So it's double lined. So you're just gonna put one in place, and then you'll put the other one right on top of it. There we go. And actually, it's kind of cute if the dots show through on this one to me for some reason. But I'm gonna double line it. There we go. Look at that. So cute. So now we're gonna leave the white thread on for this one last step. And that is for the machine to do the buttonhole stitch around our heart and our little socks. Okay, take a look at how cute that little heart is all stitched out. I love it. And we have her socks stitched. So from here on out, you don't need to take your hoop on and off of the arm of your machine. I'm going to, again, simply so I can talk about the thread color changes and what stitching. So now it's time to change from white to red, which is 1147. And the machine is going to give her her little red mouth. So cute. And of course, do the red buttonhole stitching on all these red areas. Yay! Okay, can we talk about how cute she is with her little red lips? I love it. So let's take a look close. All the red is stitched, looks awesome. So now we're going to put the black thread on, which is 1005. The machine, of course, is gonna stitch around both of her bows and her shoes, and it's also gonna do all the fun stitching here on the ruler. So it's gonna give you all your numbers and then come in and do all the little ruler lines. I'm so excited to see that stitched out. Oh my goodness, y'all, look at the ruler. Is that not so cute stitched out? That makes me just really happy. Okay, so now it's time to finish that ruler off by changing to the 0567 Butterfly Gold, and the machine is gonna go do a cute little buttonhole stitch all the way around. All right, so that needle now has the cute buttonhole stitching on it. Isn't that adorable? So now we're gonna load the peach, which is 1019, and your machine is gonna do just a few little small buttonhole stitches to hold her hand in place on both sides, and then of course the buttonhole stitching around her face and her nose. All right, look, her little face came to life because her little face got stitched with the peach. So cute. And then just the smallest little buttonhole stitches on her hand over here, just to make sure that piece stays anchored down. And now it's time to put on the brown and talk about little buttonhole stitches. We're gonna have the cutest little stitches on the stem of our apple now. All right, take a look at that little stem. How cute is that? So now it's time to change to the avocado green, which is 1177, and the machine is gonna do another cute little buttonhole stitch around the leaf and the actual apple. Let's take a look at that apple all finished. So cute, I love it. And there's just a little accent line in that leaf for you. So now it's time to load our very last color, which is 1218, the silver gray. And of course, what's gonna stitch are the braids of your cute little schoolgirl gnome. Yay, you're all done. Look how cute she is. I love her. So you're just gonna take this out. If you have any threads you need to trim, go on and do that. I always hold my thread. So I always have a thread or two I need to trim. Like, see, I hold my thread at the beginning, and then there we go, trim it. So you successfully now have completed block 20, which is your schoolgirl gnome, and block 15, which is your fisherman gnome. These were so much fun to stitch. I hope you enjoyed making 2 gnomes in 1 month too, and happy stitching. I'll see you next month for another round of really fun gnome blocks.